There comes a quiet moment, often after the age of 50, when the body begins to speak more clearly than ever before. Not in pain alone, but in subtle signals, slower recovery, deeper fatigue, joints that remember yesterday a little too well. This is not decline, this is information. Biology is asking for partnership. And one of the most powerful ways we answer is through food, not as calories, but as daily biological instructions that tell our cells how to age. As the years pass beyond 50, the body becomes more sensitive to what it is given, and leafy green vegetables begin to play a role far deeper than simple nutrition. Inside these leaves is a quiet intelligence shaped by nature, offering minerals and plant compounds that speak directly to aging systems. Magnesium supports muscle relaxation and nerve stability, helping reduce the subtle tension that accumulates with time. Folate assists in DNA repair, a process that slows as we age, allowing cells to replicate with fewer errors. Natural nitrates improve blood vessel flexibility, encouraging smoother circulation and better oxygen delivery to tissues that have grown less efficient over decades of use. What makes these greens especially powerful is how gently they work. They do not shock the body or demand adaptation. Instead, they reduce background inflammation, the low-grade immune response that silently damages joints, blood vessels, and brain tissue. Chronic inflammation is not dramatic, but it is persistent, and leafy greens help calm it by supplying antioxidants that neutralize oxidative stress before it turns into cellular injury. This calming effect extends to the nervous system, supporting cognitive clarity and emotional balance at a stage of life when mental fatigue can feel heavier. Fiber from these vegetables feeds beneficial gut bacteria, improving digestion and stabilizing blood sugar, which becomes increasingly important as insulin sensitivity declines with age. Better blood sugar control protects the brain, the eyes, and the cardiovascular system, all of which are vulnerable after 50. Over time, consistent intake of leafy greens creates an internal environment that favors repair over damage, efficiency over strain, and balance over excess, allowing the body to age not in resistance, but in cooperation with its own biology. As we move past the age of 50, the conversation around fat changes from fear to understanding, and healthy fats begin to reveal their quiet importance in the aging body. Every cell is wrapped in a membrane made largely of fat, and with time, these membranes lose flexibility, becoming more vulnerable to damage and less responsive to signals. Natural fats from foods like olive oil, avocados, seeds, and nuts restore this flexibility, allowing nutrients to enter cells more easily and waste to leave without resistance. This simple structural support influences everything from skin texture to hormone balance. These fats also carry fat-soluble vitamins that aging bodies absorb less efficiently, including vitamins that protect vision, immunity, and bone strength. When consumed regularly, they reduce oxidative stress by stabilizing free radicals that would otherwise damage cell walls and accelerate aging. Unlike processed fats, natural unsaturated fats lower harmful cholesterol while supporting beneficial cholesterol that helps transport nutrients through the bloodstream. This balance reduces strain on the heart and improves circulation to tissues that naturally receive less blood flow with age. Healthy fats have a calming effect on inflammation, especially within blood vessels and joints. They influence gene expression related to immune response, gently guiding the body away from chronic inflammatory states that lead to stiffness, fatigue, and metabolic decline. In the brain, these fats support neural insulation, preserving memory, focus, and emotional regulation. After 50, cognitive clarity depends not only on stimulation but on structural integrity, and fats quietly provide that foundation. There is also a psychological element to these foods. They create a sense of satiety, preventing overeating and stabilizing energy levels throughout the day. In this way, healthy fats do not push the body forward aggressively. They support steadiness, resilience, and long-term balance, helping the body age with strength rather than depletion. Beyond the visible organs and systems of the body lies a living network that becomes increasingly influential after the age of 50, the community of microorganisms within the gut. Fermented foods introduce beneficial bacteria that help restore balance in this ecosystem, a balance that naturally declines with age due to slower digestion, medication use, and reduced dietary diversity. When this internal community weakens, inflammation rises, immunity falters, and the body struggles to extract full value from the foods it consumes. Fermented foods quietly reverse this process by reintroducing microbial diversity and strengthening the gut barrier. These foods enhance digestion not by force, but by cooperation. Beneficial bacteria assist in breaking down complex nutrients, improving the absorption of minerals like calcium and magnesium, which are essential for bone density and nerve function after 50. They also produce short-chain fatty acids that nourish the lining of the intestines, reducing permeability that allows inflammatory compounds to enter the bloodstream. This protective effect lowers systemic inflammation, which is closely tied to joint discomfort, cardiovascular strain, and cognitive decline. The influence of the gut extends into the immune system, with a significant portion of immune activity rooted in intestinal tissue. Fermented foods help regulate immune responses, reducing unnecessary inflammation while improving the body's ability to respond to real threats. This balance becomes increasingly important as immune reactions tend to become either sluggish or overly aggressive with age. There is also a subtle connection to mental well-being, as gut bacteria influence neurotransmitter production and stress regulation, supporting emotional stability and mental clarity. Over time, regular consumption of fermented foods reshapes the internal environment in a way that favors repair, resilience, and efficient communication between systems. Rather than targeting one symptom, these foods support the body as a whole, reinforcing the idea that aging well is less about isolated fixes and more about restoring harmony within the body's interconnected systems. Color in food is more than visual appeal. It is a biological signal, and as the body ages past 50, these signals become increasingly important. Berries and richly colored fruit carry compounds that interact directly with cellular defense systems, particularly those responsible for protecting DNA. Over time, oxidative stress accumulates from normal metabolism, environmental exposure, and emotional strain, gradually damaging cells in ways that become visible as aging skin, slower memory, and reduced immune strength. The antioxidants in these fruits do not erase this damage, but they slow its progression by neutralizing unstable molecules before they interfere with cellular function. These fruits also support blood vessel health by improving endothelial function, allowing arteries to relax and respond more effectively to changes in blood flow. This becomes crucial after 50, when circulation often stiffens and oxygen delivery becomes less efficient. Improved circulation supports brain health, visual acuity, and overall energy levels, creating a subtle but noticeable sense of mental sharpness. Natural polyphenols found in berries also influence inflammation pathways, gently lowering chronic inflammation without suppressing the immune system's protective role. The brain benefits in a particularly meaningful way. Certain compounds in berries enhance communication between neurons and support the maintenance of synaptic connections, which are essential for memory and learning. Aging is often associated with mental fog not because neurons disappear suddenly, but because their connections weaken over time. These fruits help preserve those connections, supporting clarity and cognitive resilience. Equally important is their effect on blood sugar regulation. The fiber and natural compounds in berries slow glucose absorption, reducing spikes that strain the pancreas and contribute to metabolic aging. This steady rhythm of energy protects the nervous system and reduces fatigue, allowing the body to operate with greater balance and efficiency as the years progress. As the body moves through its later decades, its ability to rebuild itself becomes quieter but no less important, and this is where simple, natural proteins take on a deeper role. Eggs, legumes, and fish provide amino acids that serve as the fundamental building blocks for muscle tissue, enzymes, hormones, and immune molecules. After 50, the body becomes less responsive to protein intake, a process that slowly contributes to muscle loss and reduced strength. Consistent consumption of high-quality protein helps counter this by stimulating repair pathways that would otherwise remain underactive. These proteins also support metabolic stability. Amino acids influence insulin sensitivity and help regulate appetite hormones, reducing fluctuations in energy that often become more pronounced with age. Fish, in particular, offers compounds that reduce inflammation while supporting joint mobility and cardiovascular health. Legumes contribute not only protein but fiber, improving digestion and supporting gut bacteria that assist in nutrient absorption. Eggs provide a unique balance of amino acids along with micronutrients that support brain function and cellular repair. Protein plays a quiet but essential role in maintaining immune resilience. Antibodies and immune signaling molecules depend on amino acids for their structure and function, and insufficient intake can weaken the body's defenses over time. There is also a neurological dimension, as certain amino acids are precursors to neurotransmitters involved in focus, motivation, and emotional balance. Aging often brings subtle changes in mood and cognition, not always from loss, but from reduced availability of these chemical messengers. When consumed in natural, minimally processed forms, these proteins do not burden the body. Instead, they provide steady nourishment that supports strength, clarity, and adaptability. In this way, protein becomes less about building muscle and more about preserving the body's capacity to renew itself with dignity and balance.